All right, so if you got a Zinsco or a Federal or any of these old panels, hopefully this video can help you out. What we had was power that was off on the breaker here, and I'm going to show you how I troubleshot that real quick to figure out what was going on. Now we still have an issue here, but first I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot to figure out where the power is and where it should be. All right, so what we did was we went here to the neutral and we get power up here. You can see we're getting our 120 there, and you get 240 leg to leg. Went down here to the neutral. We went to each breaker. You can see where we're getting 120. We went to each breaker. You can see where we're getting 120 at each breaker. And then and this tells me that the breaker's on because the power's coming from the bus here, sending power through the breaker to the load side of the breaker. We're gonna go down here. Eventually we're gonna see where we're not getting power on this switch. We're not getting power here. We do get power on the bus though, so we know this breaker's bad. What you're gonna see is this thing's actually gonna arc here. And this is a problem with these Zinsco breakers. For a Federal, you gotta worry about the breaker not tripping, but for the Zinsco, you actually gotta worry about the physical panel catching fire. So in this case, what we have, I'm not gonna try and pry this off. I'll likely do more damage, but you can see where there's some arcing right there. Eventually, if the power doesn't turn itself off, these will just arc into a huge hot mess. So what we're getting, the power is trying to make connection here. And you can see if I move the breaker just a little bit, you can see we're starting to get a little spike of voltage there. But that's going to be your problem. This is an aluminum bus. The tabs on this breaker that connect here are also made of aluminum. And they're just no longer making a good connection. So all we've got is oxidized, corroded connection that's not going to be very reliable and really unsafe. Your best option here is probably to replace this panel. For now, we can put this wire on another circuit that's not pulling a large load. You can add another larger breaker, kind of like a sub-feed, and that'll get you for a couple of years safely, hopefully. And just add a sub panel here. You got a couple of different options. Replacement's probably the best one long term, but for now we're going to try to find out what each wire is pulling by using our amp probe here. And with this we can see how much power is on each circuit, like this. So we should be able to see this circuit here is pulling actually nothing, because oh, that's the one that we're actually working on. Haha. Try this one here. 0.2. So we want to turn everything on the house, try to figure out what circuit's pulling the most, and then temporarily put this wire on the circuit with the least amount going to it. You see where it's getting a good little arc there. So we're going to be safe. We've got our volt claw here. We're going to pull this off of the panel. And the volt claw is nice because you can grab the wire and pull it away safely. So what we're going to do is just go through with our multimeter amp probe, figure out what circuit has the least amount of amperage, and tie to that. We got everything on in the house, heaters are plugged in, all that stuff, so we can see what circuit is safe to plug this into. Likely it's going to be this garage circuit. Let's see what we can get. I've determined that this circuit is just lighting and really nothing else. One plug in the living room. This is probably the safest thing to jump onto. We're talking about this circuit that's off right there. And I found the loop here, so we're going to see how many amps it's pulling. We'll turn the breaker back on and put our amp probe on this wire. All right, so we got a heater on that circuit, and we're only pulling 7.2 amps. We can safely use up to about 16 amps. You want to go 80% of the breaker, which is 20 amps, so 16 amps max. 7 amps with the heater is not bad at all. Let's attach this wire to this circuit using a Wago and some jumpers, and then we're going to see the overall total load of this circuit. All right, there's my 2 wires. Something you want to do, you want to cut this back to original copper, just because it's older copper, it could be oxidized, and you want to give this the best chance for being reliable. All right, we got a jumper with the Wago. Let's turn it on and see what we got. Oh, we need to go turn that heater on. This is good news though, because the heater's off right now. Homeowner's gonna go turn the heater on right now. I bet you we get about 8.3 amps. That's my guess. Seven, 7.8, 7.7. Oh, it's gonna stabilize. So let's go turn on the lights in their room. That should add another amp for each room. And then the computers, and let's just load up this circuit completely. Even plug the mini fridge in. Okay, so now we got about 9.2. Keep in mind, with the mini fridge plugged in, it's probably just sitting dormant until it actually calls for the compressor to turn on. This will probably get up to maybe 11 or 12. Maximum 16, so that's gonna be a good fix for a cold day for somebody. Hope this helps you guys out, and yeah, the most important thing you can do is just make sure you do your diligence on knowing what is on what circuit and take your time to trace it out. Don't just throw it on a random breaker. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.